On the next all-new episode of My Adventures with Superman.
Lois! Where's Clark? I thought he was with you.
What do you mean? He's right here.
But this is taking too long. Huh?
Hello.
My Adventures with Superman. All new next Thursday at midnight on Adult Swim. Next day on Max.
On the next all-new episode of Dr. Stone.
What I wanted to tell you is I'm not from Ishigami Village. My name is actually Soyuz.
Wait, as in the Soyuz? The spaceship treasure box that's the whole reason we're headed to this island?
My home, and to the spaceship with the treasure inside. I can take you there.
I don't know whether it's good or bad. The treasure island isn't deserted.
Dr. Stone. Saturday night at 12:30. Only Toonami on Adult Swim.
The following program may contain coarse language, suggestive dialogue, and discussion of violent imagery and sexual situations. It is intended for mature listeners who can tell the difference between facts and opinions.
It's Unicorn, the Eternal Struggle, on this episode of the Toonami Faithful Podcast. I am your host, Sketch, and with me I have...
Yes, I'm Darrell Maddox.
And...
Editor-in-Chief at ToonamiFaithful.com, CJ Maffers.
And...
Happy Kuro Kitty, here to talk only good things, because someone has to, about this show.
Whoa, you're showing your hand a little too early there.
I just feel like I know what's going to happen here, and I need to represent my fandom.
Listen, you knew what you signed up for.
I'm the
voice of
optimism. I'm the voice.
She's
I'm
just
the obnoxiously happy one that loves everything.
Optimism. She is the Sting of the group.
Yes,
she keeps us going with our happy
indeed.
She actually, yes.
And it's not just the wine. It's not just the wine, guys. I promise.
You haven't even
the
started.
vodka as well, people.
Oh boy, it's been a while since either Kuro or Darrell have been on an episode. How y'all doing?
Missed it.
Finally getting out of the mud.
Well, I'm delighted to have you for this conversation, and CJ, of course.
I was going to say, if I've been on more podcasts than other people, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just haven't had much to say lately. I just really haven't had much to say lately.
Well, maybe that'll change, but probably not regarding upcoming Toonami schedule updates, because there's not much to talk about.
Yeah,
well,
it's been dry in the Sahara right now.
Gonna rip the Band-Aid off that is currently trying to hide something flying out of our heads, because Fooly Cooley Classic is back to replace Food Wars. Certainly an upgrade. I will never say otherwise. However, again with this.
Well, I think
the rerun in the middle of the block.
I think the only thing that I question is just give us back the double One Piece. I love that.
Please. We're this close to Dressrosa.
Right. It's just it made the show go by a lot better and like more digestible. So it's one of those kind of things where I just prefer that. And I know they've done it and they're like, well, it doesn't work as much. It's like, yeah, no, I get it. It's just like, I wish it would. That's my wishful thinking.
One Piece is definitely a show that works better doing double episodes, I think.
100%.
Because if you think about it, like you get, let's say the average half-hour episode is about 24 minutes. The first 3 minutes are recap. and then the last 2 minutes are usually just like long and drawn out. So essentially you're getting about 19 to 20 minutes of actual content in a One Piece episode.
That's on
out
a
of
good
a half
day.
an hour show.
Yeah, three
so
is on a good episode.
yeah, so I feel like 2 episodes, then you're like at least getting a bulk episode. Yeah. And so that's why I agree with CJ. Let's bring back the double One Piece.
I can't
Can you get
agree
a side
more.
of fries with it?
Yes.
Look, I'm sure that they're bringing back Fooly Cooly Classic the same reason they did it in 2018 when they were queuing up for the new Fooly Coolies that are coming. So I get it. However, if you really have nothing else, just shift the other shows up so I can go to bed sooner.
We don't care about your sleep schedule, Sketch.
They really don't. They really, really don't. And even though I'm on the West Coast, I got to get up so early on Sunday morning that I'd probably have to clock out after Dr. Stone, man. It's just...
Understand.
Sorry, One Piece. You know I love you.
Do you love One Piece, Sketch?
I mean, I love it enough to DVR it and watch it later, even though it's episodes I've already seen. So
that's love. Find yourself someone like Sketch who will watch you even when he's already seen everything.
Yeah, and that dub just reached 1,000 episodes.
Congrats! No, that is a huge accomplishment. Like
that
legit, the fact that they've stayed with it, because there was a long stretch where people's like, did they just stop?
Yeah, for like 2 years, all they released was some TV specials.
Exactly.
And how many other shows have reached that milestone, though? Like, that has to be a really small number.
Well, yeah.
Case closed. Well, no. Just in general. Like, Case closed reached over 1,000. I feel like there's... Obviously. Well, yeah. What was that? There's that children's anime that's still ongoing.
Saze-san.
Yeah. And I think
that might not be children's anime, all things considered.
And I know Doraemon, I think, hit over 1,000.
Possibly. It's
right.
taking breaks and like...
Right, so it's like, it's literally, that's it.
Yeah.
So that should tell you how, like, and the fact that there's 1,000 dubbed of One Piece, just is it's crazy. So, huge accomplishment. Should not be, taken lightly, especially considering the amount of money.
65 episodes behind Japan. That is crazy.
They've been busy over there. And I think the biggest part about that, where it's like, holy crap, is like, they don't get the type of investment back that, say, like, other syndicated shows do that reach, like, huge milestones like that. Especially, like, Western shows. So it's like the fact that they're Funimation, Sony, Crunchyroll are like, no, we're going to see this through, damn it. The moving target be damned. And, sticking with it is, commendable. Because easily they could, with how many things have been written off or just dropped and things like that, like they could have easily said, listen, we've already made our money on this sub. We don't need to continue this. And it's like, no, we're gonna keep going. So very, very good.
It seems to be heavily implied that it's really Toei making this happen.
I mean, maybe. But they could have easily been like, yeah, F y'all.
Yeah, they could have given up. They've given up on a lot.
Exactly. So, like, that's why I say, like, it's commendable regardless.
Absolutely. And that is to say, if you want to watch well over 900 episodes of One Piece dubbed, they are now on Crunchyroll. So, congratulations, Crunchyroll. You finally did it.
Oh, I thought
Don't get me started on Crunchyroll. God.
I thought you were going to say come over to my house, because I have like over 32 volumes of One Piece dubbed.
I'll just say, the things I could say about Crunchyroll, I'm going to keep my mouth closed right now.
That Tower God. Sorry, that makes me really angry, and I'm still pissed about that. They keep finding new ways to screw over people, and it's really astonishing because I used to think that this was about the fans, but it's really not anymore, and it makes me angry. And that's my piece.
Yet, ironically, they go to such lengths to protect the voices in that regard, but don't offer AI protections.
Very interesting.
I'm just going to say, man, fuck Crunchyroll.
Seriously.
I mean, like, seriously, man.
Like, we're gonna tear Crunchyroll a new one on one of these podcasts, but not today.
I got time.
Not today.
I mean, I got so
I appreciate
much time.
Darrell's candor. I do. Someone had to say it.
Hey, I've been look here, dude. I actually tweet shit out to him, man, because I give 0 fucks at this point with them. I mean, I'm paying for the service, man, but shit, at some point I might, if it didn't have shit I want to watch, trust me, I would have got rid of Crunchyroll like a pair of dirty ass dramas.
And this is why I'm glad I'm not beholden to anime anymore. I've long since let go of that. I have no streaming service for anime whatsoever. Just Toonami or nothing.
I'm sorry, man. It's just shit.
You got Hulu?
Nope.
Wow, no Hulu.
Nope. The only thing I do really, and it's not anything really better, it's just Twitch.
How many Twitch streams are you subscribed to?
3.
Oh,
3.
well, that's reasonable.
Yes, but I meant more so the fact that Twitch isn't necessarily that good of a parent company either. So it's not as if I'm on some sort of high horse thing. It's just like I got tired of the kind of corporate stuff going on with anime, so I was like, all right, I'm good. I'll buy stuff if I like the show or want to continue it, like One Piece, for example. But that's pretty much it. I'll just watch Toonami and then I'm out. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I actually just read fucking
And whatever comes
back to my librarian roots again.
Right.
Reading is fundamental, bitches.
Yeah.
It's just been a second since I've actually been on this podcast, man. Hell, I don't even remember the last time I've been on.
I couldn't pull that information out of the top of my head, that's for sure. So, thanks for being here. One more additional news item is the Adult Swim Festival is returning for San Diego Comic-Con the weekend of July 20th to the 22nd. On Saturday, the 22nd of July, is when the Toonami on the Green panel will occur at 5:15, sandwiched between a Genndy Tartakovsky meet and greet and a Genndy Tartakovsky musical experience at 6:15. Interesting.
Sketch, are you going?
It is supposedly free. Like, you don't actually have to go to the.
Oh.
I'm kind of contemplating hopping on a plane and just going there for that day.
That's not a bad idea.
I don't know. It's that is my regular day off though, so maybe I could pull it off.
Right, but it's one of those kind of things where it's just like I didn't know. I thought you had to pay, obviously, and like had like stuff well in advance. But if you just show up for a day,
I might be misspeaking on that, but I think it's technically outside of San Diego Comic-Con, or at the very least, it doesn't cost anything extra.
That's pretty cool though. That's dope.
Yeah.
Like if I wasn't working so much, I would actually look into that too, because that sounds like it'd be a fun little excursion. I miss out on my LA adventure, so I'm definitely feeling a little LA deprived.
Mm-hmm. Now, we Toonami faithful have certainly felt like we've been starved for news for the better part of the year or so. So this is where it's gonna happen. This is what Jason said. Toonami fans join us for a very fun panel with super special guests, a ton of announcements and news, and a general good time. Gil and I will be your hosts.
Hope springs anew.
That's good to hear. And at the the combination production IG WIT panel at Anime Expo, basically nothing was said about Uzumaki and Fooly Cooly except for they're coming.
And
they're happening.
There should be news at San Diego Comic-Con. Also, Maki made sure that everybody understands Uzumaki has not been canceled. If you hear Uzumaki's been canceled from anybody but her or Jason, don't believe it.
Has that actually been a rumor floating around?
I wonder why someone need to say that.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I've never saw anything like even remotely to that. Of course, I have a lot of my timeline's been very purged and clean lately, so I might be missing something. But I
feel like that's probably more related to the fact that Warner Brothers Discovery keeps,
Gotcha. Okay. I was surprised because I never heard anything like even remotely close to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And But one thing that was announced at Anime Expo, where V-Lord attended, and yeah, he didn't get anything from that previous panel, but the Wit Studio and Warner Brothers Japan collaboration turned out to be a Suicide Squad isekai. Okay.
Super cool. Yeah, that's what we need. More isekai. I was missing that in my life.
Yeah, we need more isekai and more Harley Quinn and the Joker and the Suicide Squad. Okay, can we get something else, please?
Yeah, said no one ever.
I was not ready for Bishonen Joker, okay? I was not. Get Troy Baker to voice him, please.
God.
But I can't help but notice he looks a lot like Jared Leto, and I just don't know how to feel about that.
No, worst fucking Joker ever.
Oh, man. We live in a society in another world.
He should have just stayed with 30 Seconds to Mars, man, because I want to send his ass there.
Like, on one hand, it's not Batman per se, but it's Batman adjacent. We all know that. It's Batman adjacent. Just, I know Harley Quinn and the Joker are popular, but come on.
Sketch, you missed that very underrated pun that Darrell just threw out there. Come on. We need to take a moment for that excellent pun.
Please repeat.
And I kind of liked him. I liked him in 30 Seconds to Mars. I do wish he had stayed there.
Yeah, don't we all? Look, I've seen him do some pretty decent acting in some movies, but...
That was not one of them, though, babe.
No, it was not.
Dude,
No.
me taking a dump was a better fucking experience.
Man, we all know that Viola Davis is the only good thing about that movie.
Pretty much. She was the fucking villain.
She's a great Amanda Waller. And Amanda Waller's in this. Are you ready for anime Amanda Waller? I don't think you are.
You know,
Actually, anime Amanda Waller already happened. There was that Catwoman movie animated in Japan by people who've worked on Lupin stuff, and oh boy, that thing is a
shit show.
The dialogue is so bad. It's just
Now I need to watch it. Now I really need to watch it.
I think have fun with that. But anyway, this thing, who knows how long it'll be before it comes out? Who knows if it'll even be on Toonami? Jason doesn't know.
Yeah, which is why I'm kind of like, why even bother bring it up since none of us actually really care about it.
I mean, I actually do kind of care about it. Despite my initial impressions of really this is what you're going with.
Sketch,
Look,
you
the
can't
character
you can't show any.
The character designs are Akira Amano, who did Reborn and Eld Live and Psychopaths. The music is composed by Kenichi Suehiro, who did ReZero, Golden Kamui, and Fire Force.
Sketch.
And the scripts are from the creator of ReZero and the Vivi anime and light novels.
But the issue is that if you want things to, I don't know, be different, you have to not show interest. So all of a sudden you say this, and it's like, oh, see, we're going to make more Batman adjacent things, especially with Harley Quinn front and center with the Joker. Oh, look at this. Everyone's interested. We're going to make more isekai anime. Like, you got to not show interest for the things to finally change. Because, like, if we're just going to get complacent and just watch the same old shit, then it's just going to be the same cycle over and over.
I want to.
I can like aspects of this production.
That's fair. Yes, you can.
Yeah, I just can't with the isekai anymore. But they're getting worse and worse and less original, and like it's like you have to really dig through the crap to find the gem. I'm not saying there aren't gems there. There are gems. I like the concept, but it's so repetitive, and they keep throwing the same shit against the wall. And I'm just like, after the Shield Hero fiasco, I feel really let down. The ones that I like just don't keep going. The ones that I like don't seem to develop, and then the ones that I gain this weird wild popularity, and I'm like, did people just forget what was? Did we all just forget that we like plot and something besides? I don't know, maybe just me. And then it's weird like slave fetish crap, because a lot of these have slave fetishes, and I think that's weird, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
Fuck Shield Hero for that very fucking reason. I will not ever watch that.
It's a disturbing trend how many of these things involve
slavery.
I
took a lot of fucking offense to that. Seriously, I mean, Shield Hero's probably the. Trust me, if I could wipe any shit off the face of the earth, it would be Shield Hero. Like, seriously, if somebody was to buy me that, I would either piss on it, defecate on it, and then burn it. And it's not even worth me even shitting on it because my shit is actually valuable.
Yeah, and it's weird how like committed some of their fans are. I'm like, what are you trying to make this? This isn't quality. This is literally passing for average.
To be honest with you, it's just some things that's deep down inside people that they want to actually be adjacent to. But being my dealing with who I am and history is the sake of African Americans. I don't see anything fucking commendable about fucking slavery, period, with any people.
Yeah.
So basically, in the words of my folks, and our little inside joke, She-Hero can ass my ass.
See, you heard it here, folks. How we feel about that.
Yep. Sorry. I think we might need to get started, man.
Apologize. Don't apologize for that. Don't apologize. Just need like I feel like I usually tend to be respectful of people's different opinions about different types of anime and isekai, but I still think the slay fetish thing is really insensitive. It's really gross, and it tries to sexualize it in a way that's and doesn't show any kind of understanding of what reality is. And I'm sorry, but there's a point where just ridiculous and should stay in the realm of like a niche thing, not be out there for the rest of us to have to encounter. So this is like going way off topic, but I feel better for having said that.
True. And to add some levity, because the latest animated atrocity from Gohan's has come out. Actually, I think they have 2 shows this season, but one is The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses, and it's making the rounds because the camera work is something else, but funnily enough, Jason DeMarco sort of likes it.
My dream is coming, sketch.
So
the dream is
coming.
It's coming.
This is what it says. People don't know how to handle anything that isn't the same old, same old. Keep dancing to the beat of your own drum, Gohans.
Is that what it's called? The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a cute rom-com.
That is so cute. That is so cute. Sorry, that's just a really cute title.
Yeah, it's a gag manga romance comedy that is available on Manga Up. Square Enix's crap. And it's pretty cute. I've read some of it. It has a constant running gag of the girl keeps forgetting her glasses. It continues to get more and more ridiculous. But Gohan's took this very simple premise and just kind of went crazy with the visuals.
Those visuals were so fucking satisfying.
Really?
I actually liked it, man. The little sequences, man. So,
All right.
Look here. Dude,
I'm starting to give me motion sickness.
Just give us handshakers already.
Look here, man.
Do it.
Yeah, look here. If they give us handshakers, CJ, we got to watch it again.
Are you kidding me? I am going to take over the Toonami Faithful Twitter and make it a Handshakers Stan account. You can't stop me.
Yes.
At some point, I'm going to stop thinking that you really hate it and are joking about this, and that you actually really love the show, and then I'm going to have to question this entire relationship, CJ.
I have a love-hate relationship with it. Yeah. Because the stories I heard from the cast when they found out what they were recording are absolutely hysterical. I wish I could have recorded.
Those I want to hear.
I wish I could. They wouldn't allow us to record for obvious reasons. I wish I could. That would have been fantastic, but the stories were hilarious. And second, the visuals made me throw up. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
I got sick. But the fact that I wanted, like, I am a horrible person. I want this to be shared misery. I don't want it just for myself. I want to give it to everyone. It's the same reason why I would love for, like, oh god, what's a real shitty anime to put on Toonami? Like
Airmaster.
Well, besides Handshakers, I would love for something like Tattoo Taboo, like just god.
No. Oh god, no,
terrible,
no.
Absolutely awful, wretched shit to just give middle birds. I would laugh hysterically at that burning field. That's why I would take Handshakers, because it's like I'd be the one dumbass that's like, yes. I'd be like that SpongeBob meme where he's like, whoa, yeah, when he thought he was getting the promotion when it was actually Squidward. That's me with Handshakers. I don't actually like it. I just like the meme of it. It's a meme in and of itself. And the fact that DeMarco acknowledged the studio that made it, God bless. Sir, do us a favor. Put it on. It'll be cheap. It's disgusting. It will make people sick. You'll even get haters sending you probably death threats. But you know what? Screw it. You said it. You put it out there. Let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. But it is awful. I need to actually review that thing of like an official capacity, because I will just, like I said, the beginning part, this anime sucks. That's the review. And then I would go into detail like more so. Oh, the stories. They're good stories too. Especially where one character or one person had to voice like a brother-sister thing, and they were like, "Wait, what?" And they like lost their shit. Absolutely lost their shit. That's awesome. Yeah. Never change it. Well, actually, no. Do change anime, please do.
Jeez. Well, yeah, it's time to get to our main topic. That took an eternity. Thank you. So, we have gone long enough that this entire 10-episode run has already concluded, so we're going to talk about all of it. Yeah.
I'm only talking about half of it. Deal?
As long as it's the second half.
Sure. I could do that.
So what is Unicorn Warriors Eternal? Well, besides being a story that Genndy and his collaborators have been trying to make it to a show for apparently pretty much their entire career.
Like over 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is the story of 3 noble warriors that are tasked with defeating the evil, and they are reincarnated multiple times through the years so that they can continue to come back and defeat the evil. And, you know, it just keeps cycling over and over and over again. But this latest cycle, things don't go as it should. The robot gets woken up too early. He sends the souls of these warriors into people who are a bit too young to handle the responsibility, and the adventure goes from there as they try to figure out what thing they are fighting and why, and there are so many questions of identity, particularly for Emma / Melinda, and it's, you know, it's this show goes everywhere and does everything in 10 episodes. What more you want me to say?
I don't know.
I feel like it's possible to see through those eyes, if I were to look through it through those lens, that in his effort to really get this idea up and running over the past 2 decades, some compromises were made, and some of the ideas have maybe been eroded into something that would be more palatable, you know, because Tartakovsky does have like a lot of edginess to his creations, and this one, I would agree, lacks a certain amount of edge. But if I were to place this in of other works of his, I would say there is an element of sophistication here. There's a lot more character-driven storyline, and in general, it's much more about each individual and their character interactions rather than action-driven stories and narratives. And that was it was a unique thing for me to see in this, but still attractive enough for me to keep coming back to see what happens next, because there is a compelling overarching storyline. You're really trying to see, like, okay, these characters are disaster. They haven't come back the way they're supposed to come back. They figure out a way to make it work. What happens next? I did like that. Maybe it's just that I'm at a point in my life where I'm interested in that individual story and how it comes in overall narrative. But I think each of the Unicorn Warriors, and then what's her name? Emma Melinda, the whole Emma Melinda thing. I don't know. I found it interesting. I liked that I didn't like her all the time, but I did feel for her and relate to her. I liked that she had this constant complexity with, trying to understand too, and I could get angry at her and I could feel something about it. And then you could see this building of character as they both realize they have to find a way to cooperate to really their goal. So it was fun. It was fun. I love the idea. I think they did a great job of setting up for the 4 seasons that it's supposed to have. And I'm very interested in seeing the story develop from there.
I will say the premise from the first episode was interesting enough. Very rarely do we see any show kind of tackle reincarnation as well as the kind of the effects of what happens when something like that's going on. Like, you got to see how Emma's life was uprooted and how much that not only pained her loved ones around them, her fiance, her family, but well as her and struggling with the whole mission that Melinda had, as opposed to, just being the average girl trying to live a normal day life. I like that. It felt a bit too ambitious. And then there was at points where the story itself felt like it was just dragging to try to set up the kind of story of why this reincarnation is as important as it is, without actually even doing anything. Because the only time I ever felt that it was actually vital to know why these heroes were being, setting back over and over was Melinda, right? We find out about her past with her family. We find out that it was pretty much the order was set up by her father Merlin, as well as, her to stop this huge evil. And then seeing how vital it was through reincarnation process of the story of her and controlling her powers, stopping the necessary evils that goes out there, and then how this, very spunky young woman Emma is able to kind of be a thorn in her side of what her destiny is, and kind of pushing back on this whole narrative of what needed to be. It's why I enjoyed the concept. I needed a bit more of that happening, because, like I say, I can't recall many shows where reincarnation is really used as much. I mean, you might see it kind of timely for this episode with Ray Zero, where Subaru would go back in time, but no one else would know about it. So it's kind of just something that he has to bear, which is, interesting in and of itself, but it's very much something that I feel like isn't explored a lot and is pretty interesting. I just didn't get the full fulfillment of at least that type of aspect within the storytelling for the other 2 Unicorn Warriors, I'll call, just as kind of a play on word with that. I thought Melinda and Emma were really fleshed out fantastically. It was just if they weren't really on center stage for it, or if the scenes were kind of just, prattling along, I was just getting bored way too quickly.
That's a really excellent criticism, CJ. I think that's really thoughtful.
Well, it's like I say, it's you notice the whole thing, because it's you see the premise for it. We are Unicorn Warriors, stop the evil, and you see them, in different time periods doing their thing, and I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Just because, I'm a sucker for that type of trope. We all have our little tropes and stuff that we like, And then all of a sudden you see how it gets screwed up on this one, and it's oh, so now we get to see the consequences, and not so much the standard hero's sacrifice of yes, I gave, well, as we saw with the elf dude Eldred, I think his name was. I'm not as familiar. And like you saw the sacrifice that he had to make in the later part of the series, where he's like had to fake his death so that his family wouldn't like hate him anymore, pretty much. And his younger brother's able. His younger brother takes his body, so to say, and like plays the part that he wanted to be, so that Eldred could continue on to be a unicorn warrior. But that was just like so fast. It was like a snap of the finger, and like.
It's Edred, apparently. E-D-R-E-D.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have a hard time with it, too.
The thing is, like, if you can tell Mike...
He's an elf! There has to be an L in there somewhere.
Right. It's one of those kind of things where when a series doesn't really grab a hold of me, it just goes out of my mind very quickly. And this one, sadly, had that type of effect. Unless,
I just
of course,
called him the elf guy.
The elf guy. Sure. Well, good. I can't remember saying, but, like, it just...
Saying leaves an impression.
Not a great one for me, honestly.
It made the
but
impression that I thought it was gonna make.
That dopey Elmer Fudd face.
Wait, what were you saying? Wait, what was Mr. L saying?
I was like, it didn't make the impression on me that I thought it would, because like, when I saw the little previews, it was seeming pretty interesting. But the one thing that did get me was like, reincarnation, you never have two bodies like actually in conflict with each other like that. And so with Emma and Merlinda, I'm like, wow, y'all actually doing this time around? Because, in most isekai, they're born into that body and, the original personality is pretty much gone. That was like probably one of the first times I've seen something like that. But I do like Copernicus, man, the little steam bot, steam,
Oh, yeah, he won me real quick.
That's the Tin Man to me right there. So,
the design was okay. I think the only thing that got me was the second episode where he tips his hat to the old guy who looks just like that. That was about it, though. I just like it wasn't. I don't know. Just it's almost as if like the show was trying to like have like, oh wait, here, throw this shiny robot to distract people about like how kind of the pacing was off, or how
remember,
this might not be going as well.
This was written for young viewers.
Yeah, and so
that's because they don't know no goddamn better though.
Well, there's that, but I still didn't get the feel that it was like specifically for that, because like you are talking about I wouldn't say heavy topics, but something that I'm sure they would have some angry letters from helicopter parents, right? So especially when we learned about cutting out the nipples. So by all means,
we could have had nipples.
There's elements of what you're saying.
Felt like that was important, and I needed that.
Yeah, it would have done so much for his character.
I mean, it's the same reason why people love the plot in anime and the plot in anime. By all means, I'm down.
Let's not pretend Edred did have a nice chest.
I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that whatsoever. It was. It's just, if we're gonna go by the art, I didn't like it. The only thing I liked was Emma's expressions, and that was about it. It was just, it looked way too like 1990s Disney that I'm like, what are we trying to do here?
There's a lot of different influences here, mainly like Fleischer with Betty Boop and Popeye.
Yeah,
and some Tezuka.
Yeah. It's very stylized.
Yeah, definitely. There were definitely a lot of things that I'm like, that looks like a Disney horse.
Yeah, or like Winston the Werewolf.
It could have worked if they had been a little bit edgier with the animation. I think that would be my only real complaint is the animation. I loved different style concept. The different style concept was great, but then they didn't commit to it, and then they didn't go a little further with it. Like you said, you have the Elmer Fudd, you have the Betty Boop, but like take it a little further than that. I think it would have come together really beautifully to just have like these edgy caricatures of popular animated types.
Man, Winston as a wolf. I half expected him to do the Tex Avery like heart eyes thing.
Right.
God, yeah.
I don't know.
In some frames he looked like Tom, like from Tom and Jerry.
Yeah,
this was really just like a pop culture reference overload, and the point is like too many cooks spoil the stew, man. And that's what happened.
I don't know. I think the visuals are one of the high points.
I guess for me, it's just like for me, like peak character design when it comes to Tartakovsky's shows is seasons 1 through 4 of Sam Jack.
Oh yeah.
It's just to me that has like such a distinct style. Just even with Jack himself, who's very simplistic, but yet it's the harsh. It's like very simplistic, but yet it's harsh at the same time, and very stern. You know, like it had all the elements that really worked, and it wasn't just him. It was the robots. It was Aku. It was the Scotsman. There was a lot of just really kind of unique stuff that made it Tartakovsky, and you saw a little bit of that like in Dexter's Lab, for example, too. And it's something that I did kind of feel in Primal, and I mean more so where I would put Primal more towards what we're seeing with Unicorn Warriors Eternal than opposed to the Sam Jack Dexter's Lab type of thing. You know, I like Primal more because of the storytelling. Like I think it's peak storytelling, honestly. And like so you have Unicorn Warriors Eternal, which didn't quite hit me with the story itself. Didn't quite hit me with the character design, and so I'm kind of left sitting here with my hands up like Ricky Bobby, like, what do I do with my hands? I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. It's like, it's one of those types of things where it doesn't impress in a lot of areas that I would want it to, and like maybe it's come to a point where I'm just not a Tartakovsky guy. The last thing, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Primal. I think Primal is on the same level of Arcane and Invincible. Like legitimately, I will say it's a strong third.
It is,
but like the fact that you're even mentioned in the same breath as those two types of series, you're doing something right. But yet, like I think that Sam Jack is like really the culmination of what makes Tartakovsky such a brilliant, creator, and just everything else kind of just I was a little too old for Dexter's Lab, so I missed the initial like start of that. I only saw it like after it was all done, and I like it. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's terrible whatsoever. But any type like Symbiotic Titan, I can take it or leave it. It doesn't do anything for me.
God, don't let Paul hear you say that.
How dare you?
I will say that to Paul in the fray. It just doesn't do it. I don't get the love for it.
Show, man.
I don't see it.
It's probably my favorite.
Shake it, bake it.
I am sorry. I'm not
necessarily.
I'm not even saying like you have bad taste or anything like that. It just wasn't for me, and so
Yeah,
I kind of put this kind of in that same where it's just like, yeah, it's there. I just don't really care. Like it's just it misses the mark for me.
I think you're undercutting one thing though that they did really well, which was the sound element. It does with sound design and balancing silence and music and taking out music and using sound effects, and he's really gotten it down to a science, and it's almost to the point where I had to go back and rewatch episodes to really appreciate how he enhanced a moment with how he utilized sound in that. And that was a technique he developed in Jack and also used again in Primal. And it's just so fantastic how he does that. I really love the way Tartakovsky uses sound. And I've written about it before in the past on the website about using silence and using sound effects. But I thought that there's a moment where Copernicus and he is walking or rolling or whatever he's doing, and you only hear him and you hear his kind of robotic sounds. And it really impacts you about that's what the situation is. So I think that is, I hope that we all can agree that he did that well in this series.
It didn't hit. It didn't hit for me. I missed it because I think for me with it, because if Copernicus could actually talk, I think I'd have more impact with the sound effects for it. Because imagine he could talk, you can understand it, but then all of a sudden he's just at his wit's end and he starts doing those sound effects. I think that would be a much more dramatic effect. To me, it was just kind of like,
what kind of boy?
Very
look
expressive.
at me, I'm silly. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of. It felt like it was from him especially, or I should say, was distracting more than anything. Like if you want to give me the more memorable moments, like where Elfdred was like, oh my God, Melinda doesn't love me anymore. You felt a little bit of the heartache with that, where you would get some of the sadder sounds. Him kind of his voice kind of tailing off at the end, kind of realizing it. Maybe you would see more of the anger when him and Winston fought over, the attention of Melinda and Emma. So there, I think. I mean, I see it more there.
Okay, CJ, what kind of voice should Copernicus have?
Ooh, you're gonna like this one.
I think you should have Darrell's voice.
That was exactly where I was gonna go. 100%. You cannot tell me that wouldn't make more sense. Especially, it would be great. Especially when all Copernicus kept hearing is like, "You effed up, you effed up." Be like, "Motherfucker, I got woken up so fucking early. I wasn't ready for this. We had to get this shit done now."
Like, seriously, why the fuck did you wake me up at this fucking point? It is not time for this shit.
This
like,
was
why
not.
am I here now?
This was not written in the late '90s. Okay, guys.
I know, but that's at least like my thing. Darrell,
giant talking robot voiced by Phil Lamar. Let's go.
Soul of a Black.
I would have easily put this show up higher if they did something like that, because it would be just they already made Copernicus like jokey
shit,
anyway.
Adrian, she don't love you no more.
Right, but it'd be like, or here's an idea sketch: make it like Bumblebee from Transformers. And he could then pull like sound from other things that would be like something from this show, something from that show, from his own shows.
Okay, that's maybe a little too meta.
But it's just one of those types of things where it's just like, to me, like I'll give you some, like I mentioned, some of the scenes before.
Except okay, one thing. If he did that, and at some point he got a hammer, and it was an audio clip from Symbionic Titan of the guy going, "The hammer,"
I would have accepted this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that would have made it.
It would make the show so much more memorable, and it actually makes a lot more sense to me, considering how long it took to have the show created in the first place. So it's like, this is his like.
Ooh, at some point, somebody did say an unspeakable evil, and I was like.
But it's like you have him reference, like his Dexter's Lab, his Primal, his. Sam Jack, but you get what I'm saying. Like with Copernicus for sounds, I would have loved that.
I really
loved it.
I like the steampunk sounds.
I did not. Well, they're not bad. It's just they're nothing memorable for me.
I will say that it did kind of get tiresome with Copernicus that he really didn't make that many different noises, so it was a lot of the same. But I mean, what Kuro was saying about all the other noises that you'd hear throughout, like through the city, when they're up at Otto's place, there's lots of great steampunk sounds. He made excellent use of steampunk sounds, and I'm all for that. Aesthetics in this series are really good, in my opinion. It's the writing that's the problem. Action also very good. Again, the writing is the problem. And that's the thing. You can appreciate those sounds. You can appreciate the silence. But you know what this show was a whole lot of? Characters talking and not talking about much of anything.
It just felt like it was dragging, didn't it?
Yeah, I think 10 episodes, frankly, bored kids.
In 10 episodes, I was like, how did this happen? What has happened? As the fairness, great Mark Jackson,
as I said, they do many things in 10 episodes, but it drags. It really does.
It's like
I feel like we all watched a different show.
It does get like that way.
I think we watched the show in the multiverse.
We watched a different show because I didn't feel like it dragged. Like, the plot developed at a really good pace, and they had really good character development. And the only thing it was lacking was really consistent, flashy action, which is kind of a hallmark for the creator. But I didn't notice it because I go into the story and the characters. And it's entirely possible this was just the show I needed at this time. A lot of times we mood watch, and I'm guilty of it, and I say it all the time. And this was really fitting my mood, where it was, I could invest just enough of myself that it didn't have to be like totally emotionally scraped away to get into it. And also the action, we got so much action in Primal. This one really focused on characters and how the characters interact with each other. I'm going to defend this show. I think it was good. I think you guys should give it a chance, and I think we should see another season.
I'm not going to say no to another season. It's just, it's not for me. It just really isn't. Before Primal, the last thing I liked was Sam Jack 1 through 4.
That's the thing. We are left on a major cliffhanger. The status quo has dramatically changed. And to that I say, okay, cool setup for what could come next. If it never gets another season, that sucks. This story sucks. If it does get another season, maybe it turns out all right.
It's like Magical Warfare all over again, Sketch. I'm not doing this again.
Don't ever talk about me.
I am not
Genndy
doing
needs
this
to stop writing cliffhangers into his season finales. It's driving me crazy.
I can't do this anymore.
Did it with Primal. Did it with Symbiotic Titan. Doing it with this. What if we never get more? What if we never get more?
I would actually be upset.
I won't even.
I would actually be upset about that. I do agree with Kuro. Despite the show not being for me, there needs to be more. There has to be.
There has to be. But will there be?
Like, such disservice. Absolute disservice.
There was something you said, CJ, that did make me think that if I could, we played this idea with what was the other beautifully done show that the plot just failed horribly, the Crunchyroll original series.
Fena?
Yeah,
Fena?
with Fena. Yes. With Fena, that we were talking about how rewrite would do this. If I were to rewrite this show, the one thing that I think I would do is something that was done well in Samurai Jack, which is have the intro as it was, and then maybe another episode, and then the next episode be the foundation story, the how did we get here, and really devote time to it. Make it a 2-episode crossover, like the mother, they've been chasing the evil, how they recruited everybody, whatever. Really delve into that to make you commit to why they're actually doing this. That would be, I think, the one thing that maybe would make at least tip things over a little bit. They did a hint of that with Emma, kind of digging into Melinda's past in her brain. But I think if they had really committed to it, like episode 5 and 6 would have been the perfect time for it and made it like a full-on foundation story. That would have been the time to do it. I think that's the one thing this series is missing that you need to have in something like this. If you're trying to make an epic, you got to have an epic foundation.
I think we took too long trying to get the robot fixed.
Oh, I forgot about the episode.
Like, it was neat to see Otto's stuff, but we probably could have, spent it. I also did appreciate, like, the people waiting to get service for their robot parts. I mean that was amusing. You know who else was amusing? And I'm surprised they showed up in the last episode of the season after they seemed like a one-off thing, was the 2 people who thought they were going to become the Warriors because they're descendants of the original Warriors. And I was like, oh, these guys are back, whatever. But actually, it was pretty entertaining to have them around for that last episode, and they helped her
them more.
get back. I was like, you know what, these guys are all right. These guys are all right. However, like, what should have happened, like, what happened in the last episode should have happened in, like, the second to last episode. Because the climactic final battle was, like, nothing. I think all the stuff with Emma realizing the importance of the situation and realizing that she has to go back, and, like, that's all good stuff. Emma has the best character development out of all these characters by far.
Yeah.
Edred... Yeah, I thought actually the Elf Village episode was probably the best overall episode.
Thank you. That was my favorite
reasons.
episode. That was my favorite episode.
You just
really
wanted
good.
the nips. You just wanted the nips.
I mean, that doesn't actually happen until they get sent into the, like, time whatever universe inside of Sing's eyeballs. Right. That's when Edred loses his shirt, I think.
His retinas?
Yes, retinas. I don't know. His eye sockets, really. I don't know. Yeah, this show has a lot of cool ideas. It just didn't quite coordinate them well enough.
They were not executed well the way they should have. It wasn't cohesive to me in ways that it should have been.
And, like, what's going on in that other universe? Like, time goes so fast. She's gone for a day. They've been there for 10 years. Like, they are, like, they follow Sing right after, and he's already a full-grown adult. By the way, total bummer. He's back to being a kid. Like, oh man, that was such a glow up, like for real. And then he's back to being a kid at the end of that. Yeah. Like, and what? Man, Merlin.
Man, Sting is the best though.
Freaking Merlin in this is like, oh, Melinda, she should have stopped it. She's a child. If you can't stop it, like, oh, okay, actually our drama is totally stupid. Let's make up. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm glad you did, but really.
Can we all take a moment to fan boy and girl over how amazing and awesome and adorable he is? He's got that avatar thing going for him, plus some, and I love it. He was my favorite. He's a little kooky, but like the fun kind of kooky. And then he could be a badass. And then
why
he could be kooky again.
Why is everybody upset that I'm outside of my cage? Oh! I just wanted a drink of water. By the way, one of my earliest concerns with this is they came off like once the Warriors inherited these bodies, like that's it. They're never gonna give them back. But the fact that they actually do give them back, it's like, oh, okay, that's nice. That actually happens. That makes sense. However, like let's say for instance, they came at the right time. What would have been the right time for Emma? Like after she's married Winston, after they have some kids, like what? Like seems like
the point
regardless,
was
you're really
Emma
gonna
was not
mess up people's
supposed to
lives.
be.
Maybe.
No, I don't think Emma. My impression was from the first 2 episodes with the fox and that dialogue was that Emma wasn't supposed to be the one chosen. Something was disrupted or changed in the whole continuum that Copernicus thought that she had the right resonance. Again, this would have been a great plot if they decided to explore this further, but just from the few minutes with the fox was like he intentionally messed something up to make it so that this would happen, that Emma wasn't the right person, that Emma didn't really bond well with Melinda's soul and she kept her own identity, and that wasn't supposed to happen. So and that was a plot point, at least with the characters, but certainly worth exploring with how that even happened, like the little fox lady evil, the great evil, whatever it was, of all of the above.
Yeah, but why the great evil? What's the there's so much lore to this that we didn't get because it seemed like they kept going from idea to idea to idea and not like letting anything do anything.
We wasn't getting to the meat of things like we should have, man.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. That's
okay.
Go ahead, Darrell.
I mean, I just went tripping on it, man. I took it for what it was overall, but I was like, damn, could I just get a little bit more here? I'm just asking for a few little things.
What was your favorite thing, Darrell? What did you like best?
There wasn't anything I really liked in particular.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm sorry, I have to be honest about this because I'd be lying if I said, well, oh, betcha golly, wow, this is great on this part right here. But
if you said golly, I know you were lying.
Exactly. I mean, I liked it for what it was, and that's about as good as I can get on it. I mean,
would you give it another shot for season 2?
Oh hell yeah! It's not like I'm just gonna write it off completely. Let's see.
Yeah, that's Warner Brothers Discovery's job, but
nice drum riff there. I mean, I would say I would watch this over again rather than watch Out No Zero because I fucking hate that show. I mean, literally, I would watch
low
this.
Bar, bro.
I mean, seriously.
Low bar, bro.
I would watch this I would watch this show in a continuous loop over Out No Zero.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what was Al No Zero's like 50 episodes? You watched this like 5 times instead.
Dude, no, I would really watch Eternal Unicorn in a continuous loop. over Alno Zero. Dude,
An eternal loop of Unicorn Warriors Eternal.
Dude, I would watch Master again. And I fucking hate that show.
Let me ask this. Is it because it's Tartakovsky and we have a certain expectation of what he's supposed to make? Do you think that is coloring your perspective in evaluating the show?
Not really. You know, it was some things I felt like was hit and miss with the writing and certain aspects of the show. I mean, it's not bad at all, but it was just some things that I felt like was missing me. Like, it was like Genndy's touch wasn't there in certain places that it should have been. Okay. That's all it is. I mean, seriously.
I'm starting to develop the feeling like Genndy Tartakovsky might not be the best writer. He's great at making a scene.
I will say he should do romance. He shouldn't do romance.
No, he's terrible at romance.
Okay.
He's terrible at romance. How many weddings has he ruined? He's terrible at romance.
This one, of course, was okay. I mean, it gave me a little bit of Twilight vibes, but it was okay. Like, I was definitely on.
Are you Team Edred or Team Winston?
I am Team Eldred all the way. Team Winston, no.
Winston is such a dope.
I'm sorry, but boy needs to learn when to get on with his life. Like, come on. He's getting stalkerish, and it was creepy.
I mean, yeah.
It wasn't attractive or romantic. It was super creepy.
It was
funny.
Edred was just as creepy, in my opinion. He was like, a lot of times I was like, I do not like this guy. I do not like this guy very much.
But he's way more aware about it. Edred becomes self-aware by the end of the series. He's her alone. Like, he's sulking in the corner, which is normal for that. But at least he's leaving her alone. He's not pushing himself on her. He gets it. And I think that was a real moment of self-awareness for him that he didn't even have.
Meanwhile, Winston is like fully embracing the fact that Emma will give him the time of day because, like, he's totally embracing that.
Adorable and funny.
Yeah,
but still,
he's just a big stupid puppy dog. But
yes.
Yeah, that was a very, very sturdy undergarments.
Oh my God, the golden diaper.
That was quality stuff. I'll give the writing credit for one thing. I was so expecting Winston to be evil, or to turn evil, or to be used by the evil.
That would have been weird for me.
No, but instead he turns into a werewolf because he found a guy who looks suspiciously like an older version of him on some boat somewhere and gets bit, and now he's a werewolf. But he seems oddly okay with it.
Can we talk about my favorite scene where the evil takes over a bunch of statues and they're naked, and Emma has this moment of, oh my God, where she's blushing, and then Elvis sorry.
Yeah, Adrian just cuts off.
I was laughing my ass off. Oh my God, that was so stupid.
The statues took offense to that.
They were just like, oh my God. Like, oh, this is the thing that's happening. This is an Adult Swim show. We're doing this. Okay, let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Just say that did make me chuckle quite a bit. And it's making me chuckle now. It's not just the wine. It was funny. Come on, guys. It was a little funny.
It's not just the
stone penises, magical swords.
It was a good gag. It was a good gag.
It
had some good gags. It did.
I mean, you could say he was hard as a rock.
Yeah.
Oh!
I mean, when they be standing like a statue.
jokes. We're all adults. It's fine. And if you're not an adult, you were warned when you got onto the episode. That's all I can say.
I should know when I'm on
this
the
show,
podcast, things will go
this show
south.
did, in fact, still air on Cartoon Network, and so will the Superman show. It's also going to air on their Acme Night blog. They're going to air All-Star Superman on that thing. That's really neat. Why isn't that on Toonami? That's a good animated movie. That should air on Toonami. I digress. Yeah. Man. There is things that I like about this series, but even as far back as like episode 5, I just kind of have thinking, I'm bored.
Wow.
I don't really care about these characters or what's going on. Sang is entertaining. Copernicus is entertaining. There's good gags, and I like the visuals and the sound effects and the music and all that, but story's not grabbing me. And then the Elf Village happened, and I was like, all right, that's a pretty good story. And then the ending happened, and then I was like, okay, this is pretty underwhelming.
I completely disagree. I give it a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it a lot. And I thought, yes, it's not perfect, but I've come to rethink how I look at shows now, because I was doing a sort of a scan of the anime that's up there and the anime we've been watching in general. And quite frankly, there is a lot of garbage, average stuff out there. And if you compare this to what is out there at large, it's pretty high quality. On Toonami, we have had such really high bar to reach that maybe we're a little spoiled. We're looking at it through a very specific lens of stuff where we've had like Cowboy Bebop, where we've had Samurai Jack, where we've had things that are really amazing 10 out of 10 shows that nobody can really exceed. So,
well, we've also had Tenchi Muyo GXP.
Yeah, but for the most part, when anything doesn't meet that high quality mark, it's so easy for us to just be like, here's all the problems with it. And yeah, in a sense, like, it's important for our job to say critically, here's what was wrong with the show, here's how it could have been better. And I think that's important. Yes, I don't disagree. But I also think that this was a good show. It was entertaining. It had something that I was looking for as a viewer. It had some interesting characters. It had some interesting animation sequences and interesting storylines, and I would keep watching it. That's the question. Would you keep watching it? Ultimately, if you want to keep seeing what happens, then it is a success because it's achieved that, right? And we all have agreed we want to see season 2, right?
I feel like it kind of cheated in that regard by dragging its feet until the climactic season finale where they're like, now everything in time is all messed up. Don't you want to see what happens next?
Oh my God, that gave me so much anxiety. I hate when things are messed up.
Like, did this happen after Emma visited her parents? It must have, because everything seemed fine there. And in the Elf Village.
I didn't like the ending. Yeah, I didn't like the ending at all.
Like,
That's true.
It's a promising setup. Like, if that happened in episode 3, like in Samurai Jack. But no, we're just leaving it hanging there. I don't know. Whether or not it works.
This is the one thing.
It's to be determined.
I looked up a bunch of interviews of Tartakovsky when he's talking about this show, and I feel like that's the missing out of his interviews is, what was he trying to achieve? Like, what was the story he wanted to tell? Why was this one that was so important to him that he pitched it for 20 years? That's the one thing. If for some miracle you managed to get an interview with him, that's the one question I would like to ask. Is why this story? Why did it hang on to you? What is it you're trying to tell with this story?
That's a fair question. I would like the answer. He must have his reasons.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a bad show. But like I said, it was just certain hits and misses for me. But overall, I still think it's a good show to watch. And fucking cliffhanger. Thank you very much. But overall, trust me, I done watched much worse shit. So, and I mean, I done literally watched Captain Future in English, Japanese, and German. And so, yeah. So this is a step up in a lot of ways. But, I think Genndy was just trying to go in another direction. But like I said, I still feel like some elements of him was left out, and the execution was just kind of missed in certain places. And like I said, that cohesion factor, it just wasn't there for the whole story. But I still would watch this again. And I want a season 2.
And there you go.
Darrell can be Copernicus's voice.
Goddamn right. Can Copernicus have a bottle of Cavassier in his hand?
Bless your heart.
Yeah, bless your heart. Seriously, that probably would be my catchphrase. Bless your heart. I would literally say, bless your heart, you poor unsharpened pencil. That's just like adding salt in the wound when you say you poor unsharpened pencil. I'm sorry.
Maybe I should write about this show on the website.
Please do.
I think I should be the one to do that.
By all means.
All right, CJ. Something to expect days.
I've honestly been contemplating that question you've asked, and I still can't get an answer. I am so torn. I have no idea. I'm not able to really put into how do I phrase it? It's like, what were my biases going into the show, and then what were my biases as it was unfolding? Because I love Sam Jack's the first 4 seasons. I love Primal. Dexter's Lab was awesome. I did not like Symbionic Titan. I did not like this. And it's just like, was it from previous stuff from Tartakovsky that I didn't like? Did that have effect on this? I honestly can't figure out the right answer for that. I don't know.
That's fair. At least you're thinking it.
I it's really puzzling me because I'm usually pretty good at knowing where my biases land on it and where I can kind of separate that for something to at least go at something pure mind and objective. But Tartakovsky's, whenever that name gets thrown out, I guess something does kind of throw me out of whack because it's very hit or miss with me. But yet the hits are really, really high. I can't stress enough how much Primal is really good. And I can't stress enough how much a lot Symbionic Titan is just not for me. I don't like it. I don't understand the following that it has. It's a very, very devoted and, sizable following where people still to this day continue to ask for it to be finished. And it's just let something go, please, but they will not do it. So where do I fall? Where did I fall with this series playing out the way that it did? Maybe I'd also feel a bit differently because it didn't debut on Toonami, right? I don't know. It's a very tough call for me because Primal didn't, but I love that. So what was so different here, and what seemed to fail? Because there's aspects I do like. Like I said, Emma Belinda's design, excellent. The facial expressions, her development, those two were great. Absolutely fantastic for this show. But no one else really captured me. I think the sounds, while you mentioned ones that were good, and I can pick out scenes where I'm yeah, it was good, really was just there, didn't really do anything for me. Story, meh. Didn't really care for it. It felt like the pacing was really slow. I got bored, like Sketch mentioned. I did enjoy, the little hijinks with Copernicus saying, all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. I don't know where my biases do kind of me land for it. So I guess it's just more something where I need to see more, I guess. I don't know. It's very, it's been puzzling me for quite some time.
Enlightened viewpoint, I think. I was thinking too, when you talk about Primal, if we were to go back to when we first were talking about the first few episodes of Primal grew on you. If I recall correctly, you weren't blown away at the beginning, but it did grow on you. And then by the end, you were like, yeah, I see it. I'm totally into this. So it may be one of those things where you just need some, I don't know, maybe I could be projecting here. You may need some time. But I also think, like, I was thinking about what we've talked about with creators, and Shinichiro Watanabe is a great example. He made Samurai Champloo, and that was one of my favorite series. He also made Cowboy Bebop. But he made a couple other series. Like, it took me, when I first watched Carol and Tuesday, like, I thought it was great, but I was like, this isn't wowing me, but it's so good. It's clearly very good, but it's not wowing me. What is it that I'm missing? You know? And then I realized that it's the mood of the creator wanting to do something different with a certain project. And maybe, like, I was just expecting this adventure saga that wasn't happening. This was not an adventure saga. This was a character development saga. It was a different creature. It was a different creation. And once I was able to get past my own bias with what I thought what a Watanabe creation should be, I was able to really enjoy and appreciate the show as it was, and not trying to make it what I thought it should be. But I don't know. That's just my idea of us looking at shows in general,
I definitely
and
didn't
especially
have that.
Tartakovsky.
I can definitely say I didn't have that because Jack and Primal are two, like, they have similar aspects, but I find them vastly different. For me, one's like they like I say, they have similar aspects, but I find them a bit different for me. For this, I don't know. This one is such an enigma because it wasn't like so, like, it didn't get such a negative reaction out of me like, you know, Symbionic does, but it doesn't get like the highs either. So I'm just like, it's very middling, but I don't know why I feel that way, I guess, because what are my preconceived notions with Tartakovsky, who's been in the business for forever, right? Like, people love his work, understandably so, when you see some of the highs. I can't quite get it, and I think that might be something that I need to be able to get through to really adequately say what I think. Because, and, you know, Sketch Darrell, they've known me long enough. I try to make things as objective as possible because I think it's important to realize that, yes, we have preconceived notions. So, like, when I rate something very highly, it's like, yes, this works for me because of yada, yada, yada. No, this didn't work for me because of yada, yada, yada. That's not necessarily to say it's a bad show. Like, it's very hard for me to actually objectively say this is a bad show. I've named 3 of them on this podcast. That's okay, because I can find the crap. But I don't know how to necessarily adequate something that I find middling, I guess. Because it's like you have these highs, you have these lows, you have these things that work, the things that don't work, and it's just like, it makes this just jumbled mess. And maybe I would think differently if it was like the first exposure on Toonami, because maybe it was the preconceived notions from, you know, other people that might have subconsciously kind of affected me, kind of like how people would say about advertisements on like social media platforms when they were first starting. Like, I remember a big, I wouldn't say controversy, but a big thing that parents were worried about with, like, when Facebook was first starting out was like, oh my God, look at all these ads that keep popping up on, you know, kids' walls, things like that. Same with YouTube when it was first starting out. And so I'm wondering if that type of aspect subconsciously also affected me as well, considering that it aired somewhere else before here. So people could digest it and, like, kind of throw their things in with me trying to go in it blind, but I'm always online every day, where that could have also put some preconceived notions into my head without me really even understanding or knowing that. But I'm like I say, I'm very puzzled just because, like, if it was anyone but Tartakovsky, I probably would be able to have a different answer for me. But because I have such highs and lows with his work, it's like, I honestly don't know how to answer that in an effective way that I think would reach the standard of what I always look for when I give an opinion about something. Right? Like, I can give you that with Princess Pirate, whatever. I can't even remember the title of the show. I'm so sad about that.
Yeah. I
did that with Shenmue.
Visually gorgeous, a complete failure as a story. We've all agreed to that, I think.
But it's like I can do that stuff, right? I can do it with all the stuff. Housing Complex C. I can do it with.
I love Housing Complex C.
There's like a lot of, like, stuff where I can give you that type of thing. This one I can't. I don't know why, and I think maybe a nice little control of that would be how I feel watching My Adventures with Superman, maybe, since it at least has that similar time frame. But I don't know. Maybe it's simply a Tartakovsky thing. Maybe I have a Tartakovsky thing. I don't know. It's a very, very interesting thing.
You are entitled to your opinion, man.
He's not the first one I'd go for. I will say that.
Absolutely. We all are. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
It makes it for interesting discussion, though, that we're able to like offer each something different. And that's why I don't mind, like you guys like saying, yeah, it was mid, it was okay. And me being like, I loved it. Like, that's great. It's so great for us to be able to say why, though, because then it gives our listeners something to say, like, okay, they can rethink maybe what they were thinking about the show in either direction. And that's important.
Look here, I have went back and talked about shows that I enjoyed back in the past and then revisited, and I was like, you know what, this was pure shit.
I don't know if I'd necessarily go that far, but no, Sketch, I think it's safe to say I have a Tartakovsky thing. There's something different about his properties as opposed to like other shows or anime that I get. There's no way I
You
can
have an expectation.
There
you
might
have
be
an
something.
expectation.
There might be something, but yet there isn't because I'd never really looked forward to like Primal until after it was all done.
I have an expectation. I'll say that, but I think my bias is colored in another way.
I never had it with like an expectation stuff. I just wanted to see something good, and it was never really about like him per se. But it's just like, oh, I just happen to really like Sam Jack. Oh, I happen to like this, that. But no, there's something now as I've gotten older that's blocking me with its Sketch. I don't know how to describe it quite yet.
You've reached your anime plateau, maybe.
Well, that I already know for sure.
Yeah, but you need something to tip you off the edge into the new territory, into the next thing.
Sketch is like, don't tip him off the edge, please.
I think that would be good for, because then you find something new and you'll be totally enthusiastic about it. Like when My Hero Academia came out.
I've already done that, yeah. Well, no, it's probably now more Black Clover than anything, but like.
Well, not just that, but like Darrell too. Darrell, when he loves something, he's like all in, and he's like, yeah, this was amazing, this was great, this was fucking awesome, I loved it. Like he's the same way. He's enthusiastic about shit, and he'll tell you, and if he's not, he'll tell you, and if he's mid, he'll tell you. So I feel like this group is a really solidly honest, like not overly critical, but not overly optimistic. I think
my thing
maybe I might be a little bit rose-colored glasses, but I've admitted that. I admitted that I have a bias, and that's probably.
I'm more at the point of if it's something I like and everybody's saying it's shit, then if I like it, my opinion is what fucking counts at the end of the day. That's my happiness. Mm-hmm. I mean, like a lot of people love One Piece, but I'm not a big fan of it. But I love messing with my friends about it. Just joking, but. I say if it genuinely makes you happy, then enjoy the fuck out of it because I love fucking Bleach.
Yeah.
I fucking love Bleach. I mean, seriously. It ain't shit you can tell me about it. you can badmouth all you want to, but I give zero fucks about your opinion because at the end of the day, it's something that makes me happy. But, I can still look at things objectively and still, if it's something I love and I was like, if this was shit, I will say if shit because Bleach did have some shitty ass episodes. And that's just being downright honest. They didn't always hit the mark for me. I mean, they really didn't.
You don't think I think One Piece has some crappy storylines? You're wrong.
That's the whole thing about it. I was like, just because I love something, I will not be biased towards it. I mean, there are times when, there's just like, man, this was not great. This was sucky as hell. It was not done well, or this was not portrayed in the light that I wanted to be. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's about what you like. I mean, I'm glad that you enjoyed it, Kuro. I'm not saying that I totally like the show. I believe that with a little bit, I was like, if there is a season 2, I think that'll probably be better developed because look here. We don't always get it right on the first time, but you can always improve. There's always room for improvement, and that just goes to show, like even with Genndy, he does miss the mark sometimes.
That's fair.
Sure, that's fair. That's really how I'm looking at it. I mean, it's not a bad show because, like I said, I've seen shit that is far worse.
No, I don't think anybody could actually say this is a bad show, and maybe. as Kuro said, that there's certain expectations because it's a Genndy show. It was interesting that you brought up Watanabe because I don't like all of Watanabe's shows. I really love Space Dandy. I respect Cowboy Bebop. I enjoyed Champloo. And I really liked...
Champloo is gold, and I don't want to hear anything other than that. I swear, I will.
I really liked Carol and Tuesday, actually.
I enjoy Carol and Tuesday, too. I mean, with Carol and Tuesday, it was about the music for me because I'm a musician myself.
Yeah, music shows like Kids on the Slope.
100%.
Dang, man, so good. Dub, not so much.
Yeah.
No, that soundtrack was lovely. That soundtrack was gorgeous.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at Genndy shows, and there hasn't been a Genndy thing that I haven't liked. And this is somehow probably falling below all of them to some extent. Like, there's things about it I definitely like, but, like, I don't know. I mean, Samurai Jack, Bionic Titan, Primal, Dexter's Laboratory before it got, rebooted. the Star Wars, the Clone Wars shorts that are so good. Like, he really doesn't miss, but there are aspects about his productions that I have probably grown more critical of as time has progressed. And, like, the romance thing is a big one because, let's be real here, Samurai Jack Season 5 would have been better without it.
God, yeah.
Better.
I read a really good article about that.
Better.
That the romance thing was the biggest problem in that show, and I 100% agree. The romance was the biggest problem.
It was a little bit of a problem in Primal, just a little bit of one, but
I didn't even care. It happened so late. It didn't even bother me at that point. It was like and I didn't need to be. In Samurai Jack, it was a plot point, and it was an obnoxious plot point, and it took away from Jack's own dark journey, and that was really important to me to see. It was about Jack. It wasn't about this what's her face. Like their friendship with Ashi would have been friendship with Ashi. Yeah, that would have been important. I would have gone on board with that. And then the struggle with like friends being with someone who's being friends with someone who's evil or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I could have seen a really interesting storyline with that. But the whole romance
that I don't
was
want
a
Jack
non-starter.
to be happy. It's just
no, it was a non-starter because the creation of the romance was completely contrived. There was no sexual tension. There was nothing to make you feel invested in the characters to be together. And that's what I have to say about that. I think Tartakovsky, he's getting a little slightly better at it, with the whole love triangle thing. It was marginally better. I feel at least like I cared about two of the characters being together, but still it was a little distracting, and he needs to work on that and maybe bring on someone else to do that for him.
This is my current Tartakovsky tier list. Okay. Top tier is Symbionic Titan, and Samurai Jack and Primal are like neck and neck. Then Dexter's Laboratory and Star Wars. And right about there is where Samurai Jack Season 5 falls, and then this show, Unicorn, and the Dexter's episodes after the initial batch. Which, I don't remember how much involved Genndy's even with that, but it's his creation. So that's about my tier list.
I can't believe you put Symbionic Titan first.
I love Symbionic Titan. Also, it has the best romance in any Genndy show.
It does.
Wait, no, scratch that. I suppose Mandark and Dexter's sister is the best romance in Genndy.
No.
Oh my God. That's so funny. I 100% agree. No,
it's Monkey and the girl.
Agent Honeydew.
Agent Honey, yes.
I should not know these fucking things. Fuck wrong.
There were so many references to Genndy's stuff in this show. Like, they go, Seng goes to a portal. He ends up in what looks like a really kidified version of Primal. the Otto has purple gloves, which have to be a nod to Dexter. And I think he even referenced his buddy Craig McCracken's show with the design of the elf village looking a lot like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. And I like that kind of visual stuff. I liked it a lot. But at the end of the day, references aren't everything. And visual aesthetics aren't everything. And sound aesthetics aren't everything. And music isn't everything. You gotta have a story that grabs me. And this one, no.
Didn't grab you by the char blast, did it?
Did not. That isn't to say that
I like the story.
I still think it's a good series. It's a good miniseries. And if it continues, it could potentially be much better. But that's if we get more. It's at the very least probably worth your time to watch. So if you missed it on Toonami and you missed both the marathons of it, it's on HBO Max. And it'll probably rerun on Adult Swim and other places. But now we bid it farewell as we welcome in Superman's first solo animated series since 1997?
Damn, that's a long ass time.
I think. When did Superman the Animated Series end? I think it started in 96. Something like that. Yeah, it's been a long time. And, well, it sure does look anime. But that's okay. I think the aesthetics work. I think we've talked enough.
Give me a number rating. Just before we go.
A number rating.
A number rating. Yeah, a number out of 10. What would you give it? I've said already mine would be 7 out of 10. I know what y'all are going to say. 10. I knew you were going to say that.
I think 5 is too low. 6 seems right to me.
6.5 out of 10.
CJ's going 3.
4 out of 10.
Really? I thought CJ was going to be 5.
No, it's just
the true middle.
Yeah, no, because I'm not middle on this one. At least not yet.
He's low.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to sleep on that.
Look, yeah, I'll put it to you like this. I enjoyed this, and I'm about to just be low down as fuck because people who know me gonna laugh, but this was better than fucking Yasuke though.
Oh, come on. Wait.
Yep.
Why you gotta bring that up?
Because I needed
to. Well, you're not wrong.
Not wrong.
My thing is, there is no fucking way the main character was supposed to become secondary to his own shit.
Yeah.
Badass fucking storytelling. Only fucking good thing about Yasuke was the fucking soundtrack.
Well, yes, of course. Flying Lotus, man. Yeah.
It had a potential. I liked the idea. I liked the concept. You're talking about Yatsuki.
Yeah, Yatsuki.
They fucked up the concept. Because I am a very adept student when it comes to Yatsuki. And
I mean, it was fine that they added the supernatural. It was stuck between though with that show. Like, you got to either commit to the supernatural, commit to the real. Like, come on, go with it all the way. Make a commitment. Completely fantastic.
Just fucked it up all the way around, and he knows he did. Fuck him. Okay.
Not that Darrell feels strongly about this. He doesn't feel strongly about it.
Oh, my bad. I have personal grievances, but trust me, I gave it an unbiased opinion before I even spoke my piece on it. I think I gave it like maybe a 5 or a 6, but it might have been a little bit higher. I forgot what I even called it because
ours was really low. I was just happy to see the story told.
And the thing is, this is one thing that pisses me off about Yasuki. Like, he is literally a footnote in anything that they do for him, which pisses me off. Like, even the book that I read, everything was a fucking footnote for the most part. Give me some more in-depth shit. But Okay, I digress. I'm just on a fucking tangent.
Hey,
But,
that's what we do here. We digress.
I'm supposed to be a professional. I know better than this. But yeah, but still, I still Eternal Unicorn Warrior. It's still a good watch. It's just a few hits and misses, but I would definitely recommend, like, probably the first time casual, just watch it. I mean, hell,
That's a good point.
I fucking love Primal just for the simple fact, like, it didn't have a whole lot of dialogue, but that, how the story is progressing is like, look, I don't need fucking words to follow this. And sometimes, like, even with Eternal Unicorn Warriors, I'm looking at it like this. You don't necessarily have to make sense of it to actually enjoy it. Just watch it for what it is. And sometimes, to be honest with you, I don't need to have to think deeply about something. I just want to enjoy it. And even though like I said, there were some things missing, I still enjoyed watching the show. And I hope it gets a season 2.
I think we all hope it gets a season 2.
That is a really perfect statement to end on. I agree 100%.
Mm-hmm. And if you have any commentary about Unicorn Warriors Eternal or anything else regarding Toonami, you can email us at podcast@ToonamiFaithful.com. You can follow us on Facebook.com/ToonamiFaithfulPodcast and on Twitter @Toonami Podcast, though Twitter is clearly a sinking ship and we may have to rethink our strategies. But we're still there for now.
Still an amusing thinking ship.
Well, that's what happened when you let the Thomas Edison of the 21st century get Twitter.
And you can listen to the podcast on just about everything, including Apple Podcasts, CastBox, Deezer, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Overcast, Podbay, Podbean, Podcast Addict, Radio.com, Spotify, Stitcher, and the TuneIn app. And you can find every episode of the podcast to stream online at SoundCloud.com/Toonami Faithful Podcast. And you can get the latest news by following @Toonami News on Twitter and read the news, views, and reviews on ToonamiFaithful.com. Kuro, tell them where they can find you.
You can simply find me on Twitter. I have an Instagram, but it's only cats, and it won't do any of you any good unless you like cats. But it's @HappyKuroKitty on Twitter, and I write articles for the website. Please go to the Toonami Faithful website. There's a lot of great writers on there, lots of fun articles, and some of them happen to be mine.
CJ, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter @CJMaphris. You can also find my stuff like our weekly This Week from Toonami articles on the website. I'm also trying out Threads, same name, CJMaphris, so feel free to find me there. We'll see. But other than that, you probably won't really hear from me. I mean, I'll do what I can to try to be a little more social on those things, but I've been kind of preoccupied with other stuff, so I will try.
We can't wait to hear what those stuffs are. There's always good stuff.
Maybe for another podcast, not for this.
And Mr. Darrell, where can they find you?
As always, y'all can find me in your local bar. No, just kidding. You can find me at Ukami_Samurai7 at Twitter.com. And I'm barely on Twitter these days, but, if you mention me or you see me posting something, rejoice.
Yeah, when Twitter had its worldwide day of play the other day, it was kind of like the chains were off. Like I could not pay attention to Twitter at all because I couldn't look at anything. I could just do something else. It was freeing. Yeah, maybe it wasn't so bad. But if they rate limit DMs, we're in trouble. But for now, you can still find me on Twitter @Sketch1984. And my panel, I must ask you, who's coming back to talk about Food Wars?
I mean,
oh my God.
you can have me. It won't be pretty, but you can have me.
Same here. I'm not going to say nice things, but I'm going to enjoy it.
Wow. I might actually be like the most positive person, but I'm still going to tear the crap out of it.
Listen,
Oh
Kuro was the
no, I
optimistic
don't
one
regret
for today. You can be it for that.
Oh my God.
Straws.
You know
got that one.
something? You know something about Food Wars? I have never been optimistic about Food Wars, but I have enjoyed it nonetheless. This Food Wars will deserve whatever it comes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't regret it being on Toonami because that's kind of fun. However, I will enjoy ripping it a new one.
At the end of the day, was it better not to air the last season? The answer is yes.
It's always yes.
This is why you know who to call. Not the Ghostbusters. You're welcome. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And in a future podcast, we'll talk about that lovely Toonami on the Green panel happening at the Adult Swim Festival at San Diego Comic-Con. Probably not the next episode, maybe the one after. I don't know. We got Food Wars to talk about, if nothing else. So that will do it for this episode of the Toonami Fable podcast. I want to thank you all for listening each and every time that you tune in. Thank you for listening to this entire podcast, if you made it this far. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and that you will not be scared away and come back.
Nah, I hate Holly, so fuck y'all.
He doesn't mean it. He loves you all, except
for Paul. Yeah.
I beat you to it.
You know, Paul is like literally the object of my fucking disdain. I love fucking with Paul.
I'm going to start calling Darrell Copernicus.
Well, I am a Capricorn, so.
That's my nickname for him.
Hey, look here, I read a lot about Copernicus when I was growing up as a kid, so yeah, I'll accept that.
Yes, our astronomical wonder.
Well, thank you again for listening, and until next time, we're punching out.
Peace.
Deuces.
Not good. Uh-oh. Huh? Oh boy. Oh no.
Only Toonami.